Hey everybody, this is Chad Daniels, and you have landed in the middle of somewhere. Hello, how are you? Thank you for coming back. We're having great times already here at the Acme Studios. And across from me, as always, is Cyrus Amundson.
It's nice to see everybody. I was watching a documentary last night.
On a Nordic soccer team?
Thank you. I'm once again wearing... That was the laughter before the show. There were a lot of mean things said about me, and then we
Not
started
true.
the intro.
You said, how does my hair look? And I started talking.
Well, if you're over with us on YouTube, I've made the decision today to wear a woman's headband, and
I think it's an athlete's headband. I didn't know it was a woman's.
Correct, and I'm standing by it. And so I've watched a documentary.
Okay.
Not really. There's all these guys on YouTubes. There's all these guys on YouTube.
Y'all.
Hey.
Have you seen that movie on the YouTubes? It's only 3 minutes. I like them.
Hey, did you know that on the YouTubes you can watch an Alan Jackson music video and a guy getting beheaded in the Middle East all in one day?
Y'all know you can watch that, but in between, learn how to fix your faucet on your reverse osmosis system right there on the YouTube.
Hey, are you curious about whether or not how to cook ribs and also to learn what fails are and then watch videos that are considered fails?
Y'all, you know you can watch porn on the YouTubes, except all the privates got them little squares that are mixed up so you can't actually see the privates.
Do you know one time I was watching something on YouTube and then I saw a thumbnail for something else on YouTube and it turned me on, so I clicked on that something, and then it was a girl who was doing yoga and then pretended like she left her camera on and started grinding on her yoga block, and then I would go on to think about that on a pretty consistent basis for 6 or 7 years.
Y'all know how easy it is to click stop on the YouTubes, because that's what everyone just did.
How did I even allow her to do that? I mean, I guess she had the Lululemon stuff on YouTubes, so it wasn't bare skin grinding on a yoga block. Because we're doing The Voice, I'd like to come back to YouTubes.
Okay. Back to YouTube.
So, no, I'd like to come back to it later.
No, I'm going to put a pin in it.
I'd like to put a pin in
I have
the
to say
YouTube.
things out loud or I forget them.
I'd like to put a pin in the YouTubes.
Back to YouTubes.
I do... This isn't my only podcast. I have several middling podcasts.
Sure.
I am to podcast what people who got married and stayed in their small towns are to children.
Sure.
I have a bunch of them, and I need one of them to take off.
Yeah. We should probably stop telling people we only have 10 listeners on the show, because someone came up in Salt Lake City and said it so earnestly. They were like, hey, just so you know, I'm one of your 10 listeners. I was like, oh, shit.
God damn it.
We do have way more than that. We should probably stop saying that.
Yeah, we're in the 30s. We're in the mid-30s. Like those people are when their kids graduate in that town. So, Chad.
Yeah.
So one of my podcasts I do for the football team, the Minnesota Vikings, as you know. You've been on it.
I have.
It's during the season, we invite on fans of the opposing team, right?
Yeah.
I tell you that because last week we played the Atlanta Falcons, and no, you and I are not going to spend the next half hour emoting about what happened on Sunday.
I didn't watch the game. I couldn't make it.
That is inaccurate. And, God, it was like our birthday and Christmas fucked and made a new holiday is what Sunday was.
It was unbelievable. It was so exciting. It was so exciting to watch him throw so many picks, and even they had another one that they didn't call. It was good.
It was so good. But leading into that, we needed an Atlanta Falcons fan.
Yeah, and I have an idea.
None other than
world famous,
the great Jeff Foxworthy.
Yeah. Now we do his voice on here a lot.
All the time.
Where we.
If you have a bunch of podcasts and you need Jeff Foxworthy to save one, you might have psoriatic arthritis.
But he is so fantastic to talk to. It
was wild. As I think there's a unique space in the comedy world. I call it low-tier theater, where when you have left the clubs and you are now like, I do theaters that seat 300 to 400 people, you will never meet someone who thinks they are better at something than the comic who just entered 300 or 400 seat theaters.
Sure. Okay.
They are Michael Jordan in their own mind. Yet you meet some people like the great Jeff Foxworthy, quite literally one of the sweetest humans I've interviewed on that show.
Absolutely, I would think that.
Off and on the camera.
Yep.
Was incredible. And I got to do that thing that I think is an important thing to do. And I don't know that people like it. So let me pitch it to you.
Okay.
I think, when was the last time you met someone that was, God, this sentence sucks, meaningful to your journey? Someone famous that was meaningful to your journey as a human or an artist?
Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's a tough one.
I knew I wasn't going to get great back there.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
There has to be someone.
That's a hard one to think about because then I answer it.
Dude, you
and then
met
I'm driving
so
home,
many people.
and I'm like, fuck. Jeff Foxworthy.
So I just have a rule. I think if you meet someone, like if Cody met the ghost of John Prine, right?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. If or Justin met the guy who invented sex. If either of these two either of these two met somebody that really meant something to who they are as men today. So I think it's important. You got to do your best not to be weird about it, but you got to say the thing to them. I think it's important that you go, hey, in my life, you have meant this to me. Yeah. And so I think Jeff Foxworthy, I don't think people give, there's going to be a lot of people who hate this, but the blue collar guys and Dane Cook enough credit for after whatever happened to comedy in the 90s, like from a broad audience perspective, I don't think those two entities get enough credit for bringing normal people back to the comedy sphere.
And I'm going to go ahead and say 3 people from the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. I'm going to throw that out.
I love that. I love that. And you can guess which 3 they are. And
it's your call. Mixed bag.
Yeah, and if not, so anyway, it's not. It's a very obvious bag. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and put a comment in the comments on which one you think it is? Yep. And
hit that like button and subscribe. Don't even hit it. Smash it! I'm gonna rub on a fucking yoga blah.
I think that's important for all of us who are, started comedy in the 90s and 2000s.
Right.
But what is really important for me, so I went through a really hard mental health thing a bunch of years ago. And when you're going through something like terrible and there's no joy, there's no happiness, there's no laughter, when you have a moment of pure joy or it almost comes out of nowhere and blindsides you. Mm-hmm. And I remember, so basically it got real bad for me. I was dealing with anxiety, agoraphobia. I wasn't leaving my house. Mm-hmm. And 2 things pulled me, I had moments where I was like, oh, maybe there will be a day where I have joy again. Sure. And they were, one was on Tosh.0, and I'm sure Justin can edit this in, but there's this clip of a youth pastor at a church trying to be cool, and so he pulls into the church on a motorcycle, showing off, and he goes to do a wheelie and just runs into a Christmas tree and a wall. God, I was like, oh, I didn't know I could do this anymore. I just laughed so hard. And then the other one was I was finally working through the agoraphobia. And so I would go out for these drives. I'd be like, I'm going to drive 10 minutes from my house and come back and try to manage the anxiety. Okay. And so it was I was starting to do it later at night, which was harder. So it's 11:30 at night, and I'm on this drive, and I'm just it's not an enjoyable process. I normally don't even know what's on the radio, but apparently I had serious, and I didn't tell it to him this long, thank God.
Yeah, I was wondering about it.
I gave him an abridged version of this. I didn't mention Jeff, I had agoraphobia. If you can't step foot outside your apartment for fear of your heart exploding, you might have agoraphobia. So I said to him, I was driving in the car, and all of a sudden, I just heard one joke, like the comedy station was on, and I just heard his voice go, "If your checks have pictures of dogs fighting on them, you might be a redneck." And I almost didn't have to worry about the mental health because I almost crashed my car into the sidewall. And it was just such a pure moment of joy when I was dealing with something else. So I got to say that to him, which normally in my experience, when I do that to people, like, all right, fucking, I'm going to get out of here. He was so nice about it. He's the best. That is the moral of this. He is the best.
I think the hardest he's ever made me laugh is, if you have ever been asked by your grandma to go get the good Cool Whip bowls, you might be a redneck. I mean, that shit makes me laugh so hard because my mom washes out plastic bags.
Oh, yeah.
And puts them in her fucking drying rack. I'm like, okay, listen.
Whenever Jenna's like, we need to get rid of all this plastic stuff. There's forever chemicals and PFAS in it. I'm like, my mom was the cheapest woman on the planet.
Yeah.
I'm 80% whatever those
doubt.
butter jars are made out of. Yeah. I got no shot. It made me think about that time period when that stuff was happening, and it's something I almost blocked out, right? Okay. So Joel and I were working at a restaurant, and we'd made this friend over a few summers. A friend of ours named Zach. Okay. And he lived up north by where we're from, and he was going to move to the city. So he and Joel and I, that fall, decided that we were going to all move into this place together. Mm-hmm. It's great. We move into this place, and then I have a mental health crisis. And it was pretty bad for a while where I had like my parents or like siblings like having to come stay at the house. But like there was like basically Zach, this guy who we were friends with, but not the sort of friends with where he's like, yeah, I moved in with him, and a month later, like his dad was up there sleeping in the same room as him. So I don't know what the fuck. Like every once in a while I think about the story that Zach has in life. That has to be pretty interesting.
He has a great podcast. It's about you.
Yeah. Is it called Daddy No? Daddy No, Zach's guess about what's going on with Cy. Yeah. Cody told me, and I don't want to.
You talking about that, Cody?
Yeah. So why don't you intro? Who do we got back there?
Well, Cody's back there. I can see him.
Let's go with BT Cody from now on.
BT Cody's back there. He's got flannel on, but it's cold out, so that makes sense. And then, is that a hoodie? Is that a black hoodie as well? It is. A black hoodie, yeah. It looks a little thinner than normal, a little thinner gauge. And then we have, Honeycombs back there, bobbing and weaving. That guy, I can't see anything but your head floating. It looks like you're rocking a baby to sleep. Yep. You are anxious as shit back there with your cans on.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So Cody and I were driving down here.
Okay.
And I was saying that we were talking because he didn't know about the Jeff Foxworthy thing. And so I was telling him about that, and we kind of telling him the same story. So we were talking about like dark moments. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we should talk about Cody's grandpa on every episode of this show.
Yeah, but we've got some coming up that we could skip. Let's do it today.
Yeah, let's do it today. We could double it episode after episode, and then we'll take a break for a little while. So Cody, do you want to tell Chad about what happened recently?
Yeah, so I got a call a couple days before Thanksgiving from my uncle, and he said, hey, I need you to come over right now because your grandpa is hallucinating and he's loading the guns.
Oh. Now, this is the grandpa that fake shot Cy at Go Bananas, correct?
This is actually a different grandpa.
Different grandpa.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay.
And that's great news for Cy, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I get that call, and I go, well, what happened? And apparently they had given him a pain medication that didn't mix well with his anxiety medication. And the bottle said, like, take 2 pills a day and 1 pill for the next 6 days. And I think he read, take all of the pills now. And he did that, and I got over there, and my uncle was like, don't come right to the door, announce yourself in the front yard.
Holy shit.
And the only gun I knew he had was an antique musket, so I wasn't too concerned, but apparently he had secret guns in the house that he had pulled out for this occasion.
I love a grandpa secret gun.
I'd like to stop you right there because there's a lot of information coming in that I didn't get in the pre-story story. Mm-hmm. He had secret guns, Cody?
Secret guns, yes.
I love that. That's the kind of grandpa I'm going to be. I'm going to be like, hey, kids, this is a musket, and it's impossible to load, so don't even fucking think about it. And then under my mattress, just fucking come out like Rambo.
So, okay, so go. First of all, I love that. Second,
big time.
Go ahead. So go ahead, Cody. So you show up, you announce yourself because he's got secret guns.
Yes, and I'm like, hey, Grandpa, it's me. It's Cody, your grandson. I'm out in the front yard. I'm not breaking in because that's what he was. He thought there were 20 guys outside that were trying to break into the house.
20.
And then you thought, hey, Grandpa, it's Cody, your grandson. I'm here. And he wasn't going to go, I've heard that shit before.
Yeah, I was hoping the sound of my voice would help,
Okay.
and it did. He didn't shoot at me. By that time, they had gotten the guns out of his possession, but when I got in there, he was hunched down by the window, and he was going, look at them. They're out there. There's 20 of them. They've been trying to break in all day, and I'm not going to let it happen.
What did he say? How did he describe them? Say it. Say it into the microphone.
Cody, what'd they look like?
Say it into the microphone.
Say it,
exactly
Cody.
what they looked like.
Tell us what your grandpa
Eye shape,
said they
skin
looked
color.
like.
Let's hear it.
What was their hair like, Cody? Say what your grandpa said.
Okay, so he's hunched down by the window, and he's worried. And then what do you do?
So at first I tried to like reason with him, and I was like, hey, I think like you took some medication that you probably shouldn't have taken, or taken an amount that you should have taken, and I think it's causing you to hallucinate. And I was trying to kind of like talk him down a little bit, and I was like, is there anything else that you've seen that might have been an hallucination? And he said that the night before there were 4 women having sex in his bedroom. One of them being my grandmother, except my grandmother looked like Barbara Streisand.
Hell yeah, she did.
And I was like, well, that was probably an hallucination. And he goes, yeah, your grandmother doesn't look like Barbara Streisand. But he was still convinced that the other 3 women were legit.
Oh, I love that. Your grandpa and I have a couple things in common, but
His grandpa rocks.
yeah,
Your grandpa rocks. And this is the same guy who tried to set you up at a funeral?
No, this is Birdhouse, Grandpa.
Goddamn.
This is
So you've got two. Let's not get into
they
my thing.
sound like the same person.
It's wild that they're different men.
Are you hallucinating? Do you only have one grandpa?
Well, I got 2 grandpas. One of them builds birdhouses, and he had sex with Barbara Streisand and 3 other women. The other one runs a funeral home.
So, as you know, I enjoy you a lot. I enjoy your company. I think you're very funny. But to
what's
me,
this?
nothing funnier happens than when you go, hey, Grandpa, I actually think you mixed some medication. And
my
then,
God.
just
If
wait.
that's on a ring cam?
Just wait. Oh, and a ring cam, yeah. And then he just shakes the gun so they can see it in the window, and he goes, hidden gun, motherfucker!
Just taunting the invisible 20 people after he's killed his own grandson?
Yeah. 19 of you left!
What a good way to go.
Yeah, that's pretty slick. That's
Okay.
wild, though.
Yeah,
So-
I was concerned going over there that was how I was gonna. That's how it was all gonna end.
That's a tough. That is a now your other grandpa. Now this is the travesty here is the amongst some other things.
Sure.
This grandpa, the one who accidentally took too many pills and was hallucinating, he's the country musician grandpa, right?
correct.
The problem is you want the other guy to be the country musician because if one of your grandpas shoots you while he's hallucinating, you need the other grandpa to write a song about it.
Yeah. Well, the grandpa that shoots you could write a song about it, too.
Yeah, I suppose he absolutely could.
Yeah, he just like, so I was shooting my grandson. Barbara Streisand! Barbara Streisand! That would how that would end. You're like, God, this is a little grungy.
So did he just after a while believe you?
So eventually, he started opening. He was yelling out the door, then eventually opened up the door.
Hold on, what was he yelling?
He was
Get off my property, you Hispanic gang that walked across the border. Just a guess. It's
I was
just
like,
a guess.
no races were mentioned. There was
Okay,
there
that's
was
good.
no hate speech. It was.
I will tell you, you know what's great about this? That's an older white dude in Ohio, right?
Yes.
And when you are hallucinating, like all of your shit comes up.
Yeah.
When you get a spinal injection, so for my hip, when I got my hip replaced, they told me, they go, if you have any hidden shit in your brain, you might say it during the surgery. And so I had to write a note to the staff where I was like, just so you know, I had a father that gambled on sports and sometimes yelled at the athletes with a horrible word when he lost. And I go, I don't say it. I am against it. But you need to know that it is in there somewhere. And so if for some reason, and that's the first fucking thing I asked, I was already walking. They had me, before I was even like really fully lucid, I was in a walker. They were having me do laps. And that's the first thing I asked. They go, do you have to go to the bathroom? And I go, did I say the N-word? That's the first thing I asked. And they were like, no, heavens no. And I'm like, you weren't even in there. Ask the other people. So my friend Regan was in there with me because he sells hips for Stryker Orthopedics. And I called him immediately. I'm like, did I say anything, like just anything bad at all that I need to apologize for? And he was like, no, dude, you were fine. I'm like, okay, great. I was very nervous.
You just prep the staff, and while you're under anesthesia, you just go, well, my name is Steve, and everybody's like, no, 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 no.
Somebody lit the fuse.
So, okay, go on.
So eventually I realized that I wasn't going to be able to convince him that the gang of guys that he saw outside was an hallucination. Obviously. And so I decided that I was just going to go out there. I was like, what if I just go out there and talk to them and maybe they'll go away? And he looked at me, and it was like a scene from like a Western movie. And he goes, there's 20 of them. You can't take them all. And I realized in that situation, I probably should have been like, hey, just a reminder, like, you're hallucinating. But I don't think I've ever seen him be that proud of me before.
Oh, you stolen valor piece of shit.
So I went out there, and so just to paint the picture, my grandpa was on the porch in his pajamas, and he is screaming and telling me where they're at. And then I am pretending to fight those people in his front yard.
Wait a second. You were physically like shadow boxing.
Yes. Yeah. Oh. So he would. So it'd be like, they're on the truck, and then I would run over to the truck and do like a swipe. I was making up moves. I don't know how to fight, so I was just making up stuff.
You would make a swipe?
Yeah,
You're right.
Like
you don't know how to
swipe.
fight. I would make a swipe.
Like a chop.
Can I, for the people who aren't on YouTube, which that is a mistake this episode, head over to Chad's page and find it. The way Cody just pantomimed fight. So Joel, who we love a lot, Joel has a son, his middle son, he's in, I believe, Taekwondo.
Okay.
And he's risen through the ranks, and he's got a pretty high belt. And I don't know how that works, but so this summer I was asking about it, and he's really proud and he's good at it, and I was like, well, show me the moves, and he did a demonstration for me. Side note, his teacher's name is Master Josh.
Yeah, sure is.
I just kept asking him, I go, and what was your sensei's name again? He goes, he's not a sensei, he's a master. I go, okay. I do think actually Master Josh is funnier than Sensei Josh, but I mean,
Master Josh is amazing.
He's a pretty young kid, and so he's just like, he's like, and that's what it was. It was like watching Cody. Cody looked like a 12-year-old showing off Master Josh's moves right there.
Well, so the question really is, what do you do after you learn Taekwondo from Master Josh? Do you go next door to Famous Footwear and pick up some shoes at the strip mall? Or how does that work? One of my favorite things, is this story done?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the only...
Did you win? Did you win the fight?
So I thought I had won. This went on for longer than I'd like to admit.
But please admit.
And, I'd like to know
I need
how
a
long.
number of minutes.
I was out there for a good 10 to 15, going back and forth in the yard. And when it finally ended...
That's a good workout.
But let me tell you something. You don't go out and fight 19 other men, 20 men in like 3 minutes. He's going to see right through that. So I get it. I get
absolutely.
it. You got to
Yeah, I'm
you got
a
to fight
method
all
actor.
of them.
It'd be great if the next time you saw your grandpa, he was like, "What, have you lost weight?" And you're like, "Yeah, I've been fucking fighting your fake gangs for 20 minutes a pop. Pop."
I loved that. Pop pop.
But yeah, so I eventually I went back inside and he seemed like he had calmed down. And when I got back in there, he started like laughing and he was like, he goes, "Cody, I love you dearly. You're a great grandson, but I can't believe that you would join their gang."
Oh no.
And so the rest of the night was just me trying to convince him that I didn't join whatever gang was trying to break into the house.
As he's doing the spinning the chamber on his gun. So here's the only thing that I would like, the only way I would want this to end more than it just did. That's not a sentence either. Let me just talk. If he would have, after you fought everybody, if he goes, "I'm not hallucinating, I'm fucking with your uncle," that was awesome to watch. "There's one on the truck. Look at this stupid motherfucker. He's swapping on the truck."
There's gang members in the tree, Cody. Oh no, a gang member in the trash can.
"This gang member said the only way to get him off the lawn is to jerk him off. Go ahead and do that for me, Cody. Do that for your grandpa. Jack him off." You're just out there fucking tugging.
Oh, I mean,
But yeah, he's good now. He's totally fine. And so we can
You leveled
we can,
out?
Yeah,
That's
it's all
good.
good.
that makes it even funnier then. As long as he's,
Yeah.
as long as Pop Pop's okay.
As long as he's fine.
As long as he's back in birdhouse making shape.
I had I need to start doing drugs so I can have these things because they're for real for me. I'm back to angry.
I'm gonna ask
I
you.
don't know when it happened.
This is one of the rare episodes where your sentences are not great. I didn't even follow that. I'm gonna need you to start all the way over. I mean, I'm still in Cody Fights Grandpa's Gangland.
Okay.
That's a great show. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to start over.
Okay. I had a Chad in public moment. I've had several of them.
Okay, and you can bring those to baby. I'm here to support you.
You tell me how this goes, right?
Okay.
You are in the right lane, okay? You're just traveling because you only have 1 mile to go. You're on a highway. You only have
Two lane highway?
1 mile. There's 3 lanes on this one going the same direction.
Okay.
And I'm in the right lane because I need to get off on the exit in a mile. Then someone who's going way, way, way slower in the middle lane pulls out right in front of me. I have to slam my brakes on, and then I have to follow them. Then, of course, they pull off the exit, and of course, they have to turn where I'm going to turn. So now all of this frustration is building up. We get to a stoplight. There's 3 lanes. 2 are going straight. 1 is going to the right. I need to go to the right. This lady, no blinker, straddling the line between the middle lane and the right turn lane. There's 20 feet in front of her where she has stopped. No one is around her. So I get up, and I'm very close to her, but I know I'm not going to hit her because I'm going around her. And she honks her horn at me and gives me the bird. So I stop, and I roll my window down, and I say, "Can I ask you a question?" And finally she rolls her window down just a little tiny bit. Like if I have a gun, it has to be in the open part of the window. Yeah. Like I'm going to hit her with a spitball or some shit.
Like the bullet would have to sneak in that hole.
Yeah,
and then come back down to hit her.
Like I'm lighting firecrackers in my lap. Roll your window down. So she rolls it down a little bit, and I go, "Did you just honk at me?" Because I was really intrigued. Mm-hmm. And she goes, "Yeah, you're like right next to me." And I go, "Yeah, I know, lady, but you're in both lanes, and there's 20 feet. Like you could move forward." I go, "Be the solution." And she goes, "Oh, that's cute. It's be part of the solution." That's what she said to me. So then I go, "No, I think I know what you're talking about. You're talking about when someone says, 'Don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution,' right?" And she goes, "Yeah, that's the phrase." And I go, "Well, I'm telling you to be the solution because you're the whole fucking problem. It's just you. You're it. You are 100% the problem right here." And she just goes, "Fuck you," and rolled her window back up.
Love that.
Yeah, I do
and
too.
then just sat there next to you?
Well, yeah, and then she did creep forward, and I crept forward, and now I'm getting honked at from behind, and I'm like, I'm not leaving until this is done. So I just kept going like short. I know after that moment I should leave and let it be.
I disagree.
But I love to sit
Yeah.
and just have somebody real mad right next to me.
Yeah. So I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
No.
That's okay. Do it.
Was she white?
Uh-huh.
And what sort of SUV did she drive?
No.
Oh, intriguing.
Well, it was a hatchback. Does that count?
Of course it counts.
But it's like a car with a hatchback.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like an elevated trunk situation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what
So here's what I would love. If she had a dash cam, if she had one of those security cameras in her car and she had turned it towards me for safety, I would love to just see the look on my face when I said the words, "You're the whole fucking problem." Because here is what has happened to me. I've worked on myself to fucking zero prevail apparently. And I think what's happened is all that goes on is I'm not mad. Mm-hmm. I say something like that normally where I'd be like breathing hard and my shoulders would be shaking, but I just get this proud look, I bet. I got you, bitch. Like that.
Do you think perhaps as someone who is, so here's my worry, because I think there are people in your universe who are saying things to you like, hey, if you don't figure out how to deal with this anger problem, it's going to get worse and it's going to cause problems.
Sure.
And you need to be part of the solution,
right?
Not part of. But so, is there a world, as I advocate for you, as I'm want to do on this program?
Thank you.
Is there a universe where perhaps this is a coping mechanism?
A coping mechanism, so like stress release, just a little at a time.
It's all up in here, and if you go, you're the whole fucking like when you have that, and then you go, all right, because here's the thing: I've been with you in these moments, and I never see it. Rarely continues to escalate.
Sure.
It's kind of like escalate. Chad says something really mean and shitty. Let's go have sandwiches.
Yeah.
So
I bet it is.
Yeah.
I bet it's like, I think I've said it on this podcast before. It's like, this could happen at home, or it could happen when I'm by myself in the car.
Yeah.
Everybody pick.
Yeah.
Let's vote. And I bet you everyone in my life would vote for in the car by myself.
In the car by yourself.
But
White lady.
But then sometimes I still get you're going to get shot. And I'm like, well, listen, I've paid for my life insurance now, so everybody's
What size policy did we
up
get?
on it. I had a pretty big one.
Did you?
Yeah.
How much different is it than Kelsey's? How much bigger is it than Kelsey's?
Well, here's what so first of all, do you want to talk about this?
I would love to talk about
Have we
this.
talked about any of this on here?
I guarantee we've talked about it. It's what I'm talking about all the time, because we're getting Jenna a way bigger policy than we're getting me.
So first things first, I have a friend of mine getting all these things together.
Oh, you've got an insurance salesman friend?
He's my financial advisor, but also a friend from golfing.
Great. So you just got a country club buddy and put him in charge of all your finances and your
that should go
insurance.
well.
And you're from a small town, you say?
Yeah. Yeah. It's always fun watching him drive up with a new car to the golf course. Hey, how's my portfolio? Not looking good, dude. Market's down. Oh, boy. Okay.
Hey, how's my portfolio? Well, the door's open like this, like one of those Back to the Future cars.
So the funniest thing he did is Kelsey's younger than me, obviously. And
no.
Yeah. She is.
I couldn't even hardly tell that by the way you've been acting for the last 2 years.
No, she is. And so he goes.
I think I hurt my back.
Good.
I think I hurt my back. I'm fine.
So he goes, if Chad dies first and blah, 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 and this would happen, and he goes, and we're on a Zoom, and he goes, and, if Kelsey happens to pass first, and then he looks at Kelsey and just shakes his head and goes, no. So it was pretty fucked up. But we have a thing where I have to pay a little more into it. She's got a different policy because she's going to draw from it for her income, like all of this different stuff. I wanted something that was just a payout for people. Mm-hmm. And since she will probably be around longer because women live longer, and also she's barely younger than me. So my premiums are a little higher.
Sure. What do you like? Pay $1,000 a month?
I wish. So, but here's what I brought up. Don't you think, since she gets my money, that she should have to pay my premiums, and then I pay her premiums because I'm getting her money?
I would say that we shouldn't spend a lot of time incentivizing.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But I did bring that up. I'm like, well, if you get my money, then why don't you fund this policy? And a lot of eye rolling, a lot of my financial advisor going, hey, I don't think so. A lot of what you just did. Yeah. It's so strike three. You're strike three.
Okay.
I thought it was a good idea at first, and now I realize that probably isn't great.
So, how much bigger is her? Like, do you have a do you have the sort of gap that if one of you dies, like slips down the stairs and falls?
Yeah.
Right. Slips down the. We got it.
I think so.
Yeah, you fall down the stairs and you die.
Sure.
Like, is the gap large enough between your policies that the police are going to be like, do we have to bring this guy in?
No. Also, just to go back a second, I've slipped down the stairs and not fallen. So I think that was right to say.
I don't want to engage in that.
I have.
Whatever it is, I don't want to be a part of it.
Okay.
I just want you to know that last week, when we were doing Tommy Ryman's special,
This is me having your back, just so you know.
I tripped up the stairs and tumbled onto the curb in the 9-degree weather, and Cody was with me, and I laid there, and he goes, "Are you okay?" And all I said was, "Just fucking shoot me.
Yeah.
Just shoot me and leave me right here."
I have to tell you something. I like you a great deal, and almost ended the podcast
You
there.
almost let it slip.
I like you a great deal, but if you ever fell upstairs onto the ground outside, I would have to go Dumb and Dumber when that guy eats the hamburger with the meds on it, and just like,
How? So I'm not interested in your fall. Your oh man, I just skated down the steps after a tumble.
So I have permanent life insurance, which means I pay that, and that can't be taken from me.
Okay.
She pays part term, part
Isn't that what we're trying to get abolished?
term.
Part term.
Hey,
Hey, if you think I'm gonna let that baby be part termed. I don't know what has happened to me in this episode.
if
So
you think there are actual states that let you kill a baby once it's out the vagina,
don't
Oh, just kidding. I keep getting yelled at every time I do something like that.
listen to me. I am sick of. I'm so sick. Like, if I could have a real moment, shut the cameras off. If I could have a real moment, I just think we as a podcast, right? America is there's so much rhetoric, right? It's a hotbed of rhetoric right now. There's so many divisive topics. Yet, Chad, we have such an opportunity to be a source of joy.
Right.
And we have an opportunity to not dive into these topics. So, if we could all refocus, I would love to talk about this guy who shot the CEO of this healthcare company.
Thank you. Finally. Man.
You didn't think I was going to let you do it, did you?
People?
You didn't think I was going to let you do
I'm
it.
so excited. It's crazy. to me.
There is no child in America who's asked for a present, like, I want to Tickle Me Elmo. That's an old reference. But no one out there has asked for a present.
Cabbage Patch doll.
More than Chad has asked me to discuss the healthcare shooting on this show.
That is not true. I just know here's what's going to happen. I'm going to say 2 sentences, and you're going to railroad this fucking thing, and it's going to be so great.
Okay.
Because you are going to take it, and you're going to run downhill, and I'm going to have to come over there and calm you down.
Who, me? The guy with the serious medical condition who pays tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket every year? No way!
So anyways, I just want to say one thing about the shooting. I think everyone will agree with me.
That's usually how these work.
Yeah.
In fact, often when people talk about stuff like this, 100% of people go, "Oh God, he nailed that."
I think that CEOs of insurance companies help people. I think they have good hearts. I think they want success for all of their customers. I think they want the medical system to work for the small person. I think they oftentimes skip going on their yacht so they can help. and this guy comes and shoots one of them? What do you think about it, Si?
Say your thing that everybody agrees with.
That's it.
That's not it.
Here's the real thing,
Yeah,
right?
I do know you have a real opinion. Look at me. Ladies and gentlemen, RESTRAINT, restraint.
Whoa. Why do you know how to spell that so quickly? Was that a cheer in high school? Was that a cheer for your rapey basketball team?
Don't be aggressive. Be aggressive. Don't be aggressive. Isn't be aggressive a chant? Cody, why don't you come up here and shoot me with one of those veterinarian guns?
I like you, man.
You said musket earlier. I liked all the gun experts who were like, well, obviously his gun's getting jammed. And it's like, no, he's got the thing that you kill cattle with, man. Like, he had to reload it. It's like, no, he specifically brought a vet's gun, I guess. I would like to see an assassin who's out there with a musket, like, just like on CCTV.
Yeah, absolutely.
Say the thing that is not going to divide the people.
Okay. I think that if you
I'm
gonna do it as Jeff.
Your name is Luigi.
I'm going to do it as Jeff.
Okay, I would love for you to do it
But
as Jeff.
first of all, imagine the angst with this kid always being in the green when you're playing Mario Kart. Okay.
Also, as two people who genuinely have an immense amount of respect for Jeff, and we talked about it at length after he was on the show and then on this program. I mean, what better way to honor him than to use his voice in this way, Chad?
Yeah, you're right. He's a pretty nice guy. So I'll just say it like this.
Should you do Bill Engvall?
Oh boy, here's your sign. If you make a plan to kill a CEO, okay, and then you go out and you buy a gun and you fill all that stuff out and you wait for you can get the gun and then you have to make travel.
You think that's
plans.
how he got the vet gun?
Just wait, maybe, I don't know. But then you travel to the city where the CEO lives. You have to figure out how to travel there without a lot of trace. And then in this giant city, you have to find this CEO. If you can do all of that and you're still on hold with the insurance company, I believe that's a green light. I believe if you check your phone and it goes, doot, 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 you're 187th in line. You go, 187? That's homicide, bitch. Ta-ta! You got to go for it.
Hey! I'm not going to even participate. That was great.
Thank you. And everyone agrees. I do think it's interesting.
I think the episode's over, right? We did it, right? That's the end. I think we should let the people live with that. No, go ahead. Cushion it.
So I just think it's interesting on Twitter. You go back on people's feeds and it's like, Gaza is murder and this is crazy. And then you scroll up and it's like, I am so fucking glad that this guy is dead. It's so weird what this has made people think.
Sure. I'm Cody, as a diabetic, any thoughts? What so Cody,
You're a diabetic?
Yeah, he's one of the ones that he's a non-cake diabetic.
Oh, you had it from birth?
I got the kind that you get at birth, but I got it when I was 21.
Oh, happy birthday. What a weird, I love how you're like, I can finally drink after I test my blood. This sucks.
Did you know, Cody was telling me that the guy who invented insulin basically found it, Cody, he found it by accident, right?
Yeah, they were like dissecting dogs in Canada.
Hell yeah. Speaking of country songs.
I don't know if they were just like chopping them up, but that's they found it in dogs. That's where they discovered insulin.
So then you have to inject yourself with insulin?
So yeah, I do.
And do you think that's why dogs attack you all the fucking time? Because a dog massacre led to your survival, you selfish son of a bitch? I'm out.
He was saying that like when they first discovered it, they went into this ward where all these people were in diabetic comas, and they just started giving people the diabetes shots, and they just started like fucking waking up.
Oh, that would be terrifying.
And but yeah, so then that guy, if my memory serves correctly, he sold the patent for insulin for $1. He was like, I don't think the world should have to pay for this. I'm going to sell the patent for $1. And as we know, the people he sold it went, thank you. We are going to continue that trend of kindness and giving forever. So
Take the shot.